Hi, guys! Today, we'll be recapping a story. I am living an unmarried life with a terminally ill lover. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot. Enjoy! This story starts with a newspaper headline announcing that the ship Andre has sunk, not due to pirates or fierce storms, but because of a fire, and our lovely lead, Inez Eladine, with her beautiful white hair, is looking quite pouty about it. Inez is the eldest daughter of House Eladine, and she has helped her family reach great heights, earning her a wonderful reputation in high society. Today, she decides to go to the bank, and just hearing her name makes the crowd go wild since she is known as the beautiful god of investment, with a track record of never failing in her investments. "When are you getting married?" was the question that kept popping up after Inez's coming-of-age ceremony. The only way for our girl to deal with this is to display her account balance, which will leave them stunned and prompt them to start offering their sons to her. Inez finds this so amusing because for her, there's truly nothing better than enjoying life on her own when you're a millionaire. How did she become so rich, you ask? Inez had a special ability where, with just a touch, she could glimpse fragments of someone else's bad luck, and she cleverly used that to her advantage. However, just a month ago, she unfortunately lost this precious gift. It seems she's having a tough day today as well, since the bank she is in is being robbed, and the clerk next to her is trying to comfort her and ensure her safety. The robber heard the man mention the Eladine name, which made the masked man thrilled since our girl is worth millions, when out of nowhere, a really handsome man knocks him out. The other robbers shake in their boots as they try to intimidate him, but they all get knocked out effortlessly. Just like that, this charming guy with black hair casually inquires if his documents can be processed now. Sir, with all of the craziness that just happened, it appears that now is not the best time for that. Prompting Inez to offer her assistance because she is a VIP in the bank. She holds his hand on purpose to learn more about him, and she's astonished by what she discovers. A glimpse of this man's tragedy as he goes berserk, as a result of the demonic sword Tegierios, the very blade that slashed the sacred tree, a sword that selected its owner, also known as the Cursed Sword. Inez is a bit puzzled about how her ability has come back, but she's also very intrigued to bump into the most famous person on the continent. One knight then approaches them and calls the charming man captain, which makes it clear that he is the captain of the Third Order of the Imperial Knights and the current master of the demonic sword, Khaled Arsdian. I mentioned he's famous, didn't I? It's a bit unfortunate that it's not because of his pretty looks or charisma. Instead, he seems to be the world's unluckiest man. Sir, I'm a softie for men that brush their hair that way. After the incident, Khaled vanishes, so Inez thought it would be a good idea to see if her power had truly come back. So she headed over to the horse race tracks to find out. In the bustling crowd, she runs into many gamblers and notices that they all seem to share the same unfortunate luck since horse 6 is destined to win. She bought 100 tickets for the 6th horse, and just like that, while everyone else is losing their minds over the unexpected win of the losing horse, our girl is here smiling victoriously. So this is how she's using her power. That's awesome! However, the next day, Inez is shaking with frustration because her ability has disappeared yet again, and the only thing that changed yesterday was her interaction with Khaled, so she quickly decided to investigate him. She finds out that Khaled is still single and was an orphan before being adopted by the House Arsdian. The Marquis and Marchioness welcomed a son a few years later, but despite that, Khaled continues to be the heir of the family. He used to be the captain of the First Order of Imperial Knights, but was demoted to the Third Order, and many around him referred to him as a killer who is obsessed with slaughter. The demonic sword shows up hardly ever, and all of its past masters have one thing in common. They all go insane after a year of being its master, and as a result, they are taken to the temple, but not one of them survives. Khaled is about 6 months before he goes crazy, so it would be great for Inez to meet him before that happens. Based on her source, the man stops by the weaponry store every first Wednesday of the month, and since it wouldn't be cordial to just hang out in the shop waiting for him, our girl thinks it'd be fun to buy the whole place. Such a flex! Not long after that, Khaled arrives, and Inez greets him with a smile, explaining that she is now the new owner. Khaled merely nods as he hands over his sword for repair, and as their fingers brush, she sees his impending tragedy, and it appears that the cold-looking guy here will be disappointed that he'll be unable to taste the special stew, which contradicts his reputation as an obsessive killer. Aw, he is just a cutie patootie! Noticing Khaled's uneasy expression, Enos quickly dismisses what she just discovered and shares that it will take around 2 days to have his sword repaired. She thanks him for his help during the bank robbery, and with a smile, hands him her business card while introducing herself. But he appears to have no idea who she is, and just replies that he will return to retrieve his sword. The situation is driving Enos crazy, and she's down to her final card, a declaration that she can end his bad luck. But before she can, she reaches out and pulls him closer, and a stone flies by from outside, nearly hitting him. Khaled is taken aback, but Enos continues, adding that she can only help him with his bad luck if he accepts her proposal, to which he immediately says no. Alright, tough guy. So Enos decides to just advise him to visit the shop 10 minutes earlier than normal in order to enjoy the special stew, which surprises him. After that, she waves him a farewell wave and tells him he may come and find her at the store if he ever reconsiders. Enos is now in the carriage, and Shamor, her personal servant and guard, is a bit puzzled about why she went through the trouble of investigating and even purchasing a shop just to see a man, prompting Enos to reveal that her ability has returned after meeting him. This immediately makes Shamor smile and guarantees to treat Khaled properly, which Enos finds quite amusing. Other than Enos's grandfather and younger brother, only Shamor is aware of her ability. After being kicked out by her family, she became quite the infamous mercenary. Thankfully, Enos took her in, and now she serves loyally. Oh, this explains why she appears so strong! Anyway, Enos receives another date request from the noble, which our girl is not interested in because she's too busy making money. And she finds it a bit awkward when business partners begin giving their own family to her. Well, ma'am, you have the looks, the brain, and the money, so I totally get it. 3 days later, Enos can't believe Khaled hasn't visited her, making her a little frantic because she can feel her power declining again, so she considers going to him instead. Shamor then enters her office and discovers a red envelope that is used for marriage discussions. Enos becomes upset merely seeing it, but when she sees the squirrel crest, which represents the Arsdion family, her smile comes back. Also, I was not expecting a squirrel crest. That's just adorable for a master of the cursed sword. The house Arsdion is happily preparing their mansion and garden for Enos's arrival. Actually, the proposal comes from the guy's second son, Deharth, who arrives with his neatly styled hair all set to meet our girl. Still ugly, just saying. He dislikes Khaled's presence, prompting the Marchioness to explain that they must appear to be a happy family, which causes Khaled to smirk. Oh, so this family is nasty, huh? While they wait for Enos to arrive, they begin planning to use her dowry as political funds, and because Count Eladine, Enos's grandfather, is in the countryside recovering and Enos's brother is in the academy, they become excited about moving into the Eladine estate, while Khaled gets tired just listening to their nonsense. Right? They are a family of Delulu! Deharth has been sending her proposals, and because of that, Enos will have the chance to meet Khaled again. This time she promises to win him over. Our girl looks absolutely amazing in her green dress, and she quickly spots Khaled standing at a distance, which makes her wonder if he has a strained relationship with his adopted family. Deharth blushes as he welcomes her and kisses the back of her hand, leading her to envision a future where this man becomes upset when she turns him down. Well, she knew that was coming, so next, she extends out her hand for Khaled to kiss, which causes this shy guy to comply, and she sees that the two of them will get engaged. This is shocking, but what irritates her is that Khaled considers it a misfortune when getting engaged to her is like hitting the jackpot. A misfortune? This gloomy guy isn't interested in her at all. But then Enos comes to the conclusion that it might not be such a bad idea after all. They all settle down with the Arsdion family sitting together and Khaled sitting near the far end, almost as if he feels out of place. The Marchioness wastes no time and assumes Enos is here to accept the marriage proposal. So she starts talking about engagement, blah blah blah. When our girl has had enough, she interrupts to reveal that she wants to get engaged to her eldest son, Khaled. And he looks absolutely shocked. This is the first time I see life in his eyes, and he looks so precious and must be protected. Why is he named the unluckiest man? Well, this unfortunate boy's life has been full of hardship. He was abandoned at an orphanage after birth, and just when he thought he'd be cherished by his adoptive parents, they unexpectedly had their own kid, leaving him isolated and ostracized throughout his childhood. His daily life was like struggling for survival in a war. Eating? Be careful not to ingest a tiny piece of glass while eating meat. Walking? Keep your senses active or you may sustain a concussion from a falling pot. Sleep? Check everything, otherwise you can get burned by a falling lamp. Wow, is there anything normal about this poor boy's everyday life? Khaled wants to end it all, and there's one thing he can't give up: his love for swords. He was determined to overcome his bad luck by becoming a knight, and as if misfortune was mocking him, the demonic sword chose him as its new master, giving him only a year to live. Now I see why he has such dead eyes. He stops fighting for his future, but everything changes when he meets the oddest woman, Inez Eladine. Inez and Khaled are now strolling through the garden, and our girl playfully teases him about whether he managed to eat the special stew, which he actually did. She then asks if he has someone he likes, and when he says that he doesn't, she quickly suggests that they date. Just a fake relationship, to be clear. Inez firmly states that she has no plans to marry, but this doesn't make sense to Khaled, so he wonders why it has to be him, prompting her to smile and explain that she likes his eyes and is confident that he would never like her. In return, she assures him that she'll help him through his troubles, but Khaled is hesitant about her getting involved, fearing that her life could be at risk due to his bad luck. In response, Inez gazes into his eyes and confidently states that she's different. Why do I get the impression that Inez is the one doing all the flirting here? And I really enjoy it. That evening, the demonic sword Tigerios begins mentally chatting with Khaled about how much fun he had today, while Khaled crosses off the eat the special stew from his bucket list notebook. He keeps a list? I want to protect this sweetheart. Tigerios then suggests that he accept Inez's offer, but Khaled declines because Inez is clearly placing herself at a disadvantage with this deal, which leads him to assume that she's a swindler. I imagine the sword's voice like Venom, or is it just me? It's been days, and the truth is that Inez never intended to get engaged to Khaled, but after seeing his misfortune that day, she knows that he's ideal for becoming her fake lover. He is the first son of a powerless noble family. He doesn't like her, and most importantly, she needs him to gain access to her powers. However, Khaled has yet to show up, so she sets up a plan that will make it hard to refuse. Shamor then walks into her office with a bunch of letters, as the rumors about her engagement with Khaled have circulated around the capital, which Inez finds perfectly fine. She gets a letter from her grandpa checking in on her and mentioning that he might come home within the year, while she feels a bit concerned that Halo hasn't sent her any letters since the one she received 2 days ago. Halo is her adorable and sweet little brother, and they rely on one another after their mother passed away. He is the kindest child she has ever met because this kid is even concerned that his steps may kill ants, making Big Sis here overjoyed at how angelic her brother is, while Shamor looks so done. She must have heard this story 100 times already. At that moment, a servant walks in to let Inez know that the Academy has sent a message about Halo being involved in some school violence. Her expression turns serious as she worries if someone hurt her brother. But oh no, it turns out it was Halo who got into a fight. I have a feeling Halo might not be as angelic as he seems, but he sure is adorable. Priscillian Academy is a prominent academy that only the brightest children can attend. And while the academy has produced well-known figures, they have one truly amazing student. This cute little white-haired boy, Halo. He tried not to leave his sister 6 months ago, claiming that students would bully him, but Big Sis pledged to take care of it. He doesn't want to live in the dorms, so Big Sis planned to have everything moved over. Pricey tuition? Of course, no issue. This left the little child defeated and with little choice but to enroll at the academy. However, he learned today that his big sister is getting engaged to the master of the demonic sword, and he desperately wants to ask her about it, but he can't leave the academy without a reason. Just then, one of the students gives Halo a love letter and asks him to deliver it to his sister, causing Halo to label it trash before walking away. But he pauses when the kid calls him a genius jerk, and even remarks how unfortunate Inez is to have him as a brother. As he gets closer, Halo knows he risks being taken home and suspended for using violence, So he delivers the cocky child a good whack and happily accepts his suspension. Well, that kid totally deserved it, so it's a win-win for our little cutie pie here. As soon as Halo arrives home, he asks Enos if she's truly getting married, which she denies and corrects, stating that Khaled would not be her husband but rather her lover, making him even more concerned. Big Sis shared all about the fake relationship with Halo and reassured him that they'll break up once her powers are back to normal, making this little boy beam with happiness again. They then discuss his suspension, but when Halo sweetly says that someone insulted his family, but he regretted using violence, Big Sis begins gushing about how precious and kind he is, while Shamor looks horrified behind them. These siblings share a brother-sister complex and both are a bit crazy, which I find amusing. Although I'm not sure when Shamor will lose it. Halo then tensely asks if they had contacted her, which surprised Enos, who promptly responds no. Halo claims that they haven't contacted him as well, but Big Sis senses that someone has approached her younger brother. She has two individuals in mind, their father, Marquise Havert, and her younger stepsister, who has now become the Lady of House Havert. Just then, they receive word from the guards that her stolen jewels have been discovered, so she excuses herself for a moment and happily declares to Halo that she will meet her future lover. That morning, Khaled sees the headline about Enos starting the Eladine Merchants, and Tigerios encourages him to take the deal with Enos, suggesting he should stop being a knight and embrace the role of a house husband. The sword is so real for that. I love him. Is he misunderstood as an evil sword? On his way to work, his adoptive parents ask him for his assistance, explaining that Deharth was broken-hearted and drank last night. He met a man who requested him to deliver an item and promised to compensate him with gold coins, which Deharth accepted. However, when he got to the location, guards seized him since the things were supposedly stolen jewels from House Eladine. Khaled turns away, but the Marquise warns him if he intends to leave the family, leading our guy to hesitate because if he gets kicked out and his noble name is taken away, he would be forced to abandon his position as a member of the Imperial Knights, which only allows nobles to join. This is the only position left for him, so he agrees to speak with Enos. When Khaled arrives at the prison, Deharth gets a bit cheeky, knowing their parents have sent him, and orders Khaled to do whatever he can to help him get released. Enos then appears, and her confident look makes Khaled wonder if those jewels really matter to her at all. He starts to think that this whole situation might be a trap, with Deharth just being the bait to catch him. Enos reveals that what Deharth stole was worth $2 million, prompting this guy to look at our girl with those nasty eyes, promising to repay her by staying by her side, causing Khaled to facepalm. Enos then taps Khaled's shoes from below, and he understands exactly what she wants. Moreover, if she doesn't forgive Deharth now, he would be expelled from the family, so he uses his stern voice to silence Deharth as he reveals that he is Lady Eladine's lover. Their fake relationship may appear forced right now, but I know our girl is the helping hand he absolutely needs. After Khaled's revelation, the room goes silent, leaving Deharth stunned. Enos then smiles victoriously and reminds Deharth of her previous visit to their estate, when Khaled and she decided to date with the intention of marrying, and before leaving the room, she warns Deharth that if the situation occurs again, she will take him to court. That is some sweet revenge. When they're alone, Khaled directly asks Enos about her involvement in the incident, to which she immediately denies, implying that she simply knows what his brother will do and reacts accordingly. Seeing his puzzled expression prompts her to reveal that she has an extraordinary ability to see other person's misfortunes through touch. She continues to elaborate on how her ability has led her to suffering. Her parents dismiss her when she speaks the truth and even find her unsettling, which causes them to maintain their distance from her, leaving him shocked. However, she doesn't mind if he feels sorry for her. All she wants is for him to feel at ease with her. She then grins and tells him she thinks he's someone she can share her secrets with because they've been through similar pains. But Khaled believes he'll be the only one who benefits from their relationship, unaware that he's her hidden treasure, and she decides to keep to herself that she needs him for her ability to return, fearing he'll try to take control. Suddenly, she opens her umbrella and walks over to him, claiming that she never does anything that puts her at a disadvantage, which leaves him a bit puzzled by her actions. Unexpectedly, the weather changes as rain begins to fall, revealing why she had opened her umbrella before the rainfall. Khaled then draws closer to her and has finally decided to go along with her plans of becoming fake lovers. But Shamor comes over with an umbrella, prompting her to shyly invite him to her place to further discuss everything. Who do you think will be the first to fall? I'm crossing my fingers that it's our cheeky, smart girl. Meanwhile, Halo enters his room, frantically hitting his pillow, unable to bear the idea of Khaled Arsdian dating his sister. He believes he'll quickly fall in love with her, adding another foe to his list. He sighs at the thought of Lanie Havert's letter, but quickly rejects it, believing that his first priority is to look after Khaled before returning to the academy. He then recalls Ines telling him that she would leave Khaled once her ability was fully restored, so he believes he must find a means to assist her while also ensuring they separate as soon as possible. Today, Ines is reflecting on how well her plan worked and how she and Khaled, the unluckiest man, are a wonderful match because she can foresee future disasters. Having noticed that the Marquise and Marchioness appear to be favoring their own son, she finds herself wondering why Khaled is still named heir to House Arsdian. Her thoughts are interrupted when Shamor delivers the report on who just contacted Halo, and when she discovers that it is Lanie, her entire mood changes, as if she wants to kill the lady right away. The Lanie girl seems like your average witch stepsister, doesn't she? Shamor sweats as she informs Ines that she was unable to determine why Lanie contacted Halo, but she does have a solution. She hands Ines an invitation letter from Lady Bridget's tea party, where Lanie is listed as one of the attendees, prompting Ines to cancel all of her plans for that day. It's been years since Ines last saw Lanie, and she remembers how the lady sweetly smiles at her and plays miserable to garner everyone's sympathy when it was all an act. In short, she enjoys being the focus of attention. After Ines' mother was forced out of House Havert and had returned to House Aladine, she became ill. So Ines had to follow her and became so preoccupied with making money that she forgot about her father's side, particularly Lanie. However, now that she sees how angry she still is, time cannot erase her anger for the Havert. And now that Lanie has interfered with Halo, our girl has even more reason to warn her. Ines waltzes into the tea party looking so fabulous that the ladies can hardly contain their excitement. Lady Bridget, ever the gracious host, practically rolls out the red carpet for her, inviting her to sit right next to her, which just so happens to be beside Lanie. So, what does this witch do? She deliberately knocked over the teacup to prevent Ines from sitting on the couch, all while apologizing to the ladies. Ines handles it with class by just switching seats in front of Lady Bridget and smiling sweetly because her seat has an excellent view of Bridget's face, making the lady very happy. The ladies begin to chatter, mainly about how perfect Ines is, and trashy Lanie decides to join in by bringing up the fact that the Edris ship went down, meaning her investment was for nothing. Lanie knows Ines put in quite a bit, 5 million to be precise, which brings a smile to our girl's face because she had no idea 5 million was such a big deal until Lanie pointed it out. Oops, that's a loss of 50 dignity points for Lanie. She chooses to switch topics and tells Ines not to call her so formally since they are family. But our girl looks at her as if they are strangers and firmly says she doesn't have a sister or a father. That man cheated on his wife, took her money, and brought his mistress's children into his home. With everyone listening, Ines tells Lanie that Marquise Havert lost his parental rights because he never paid child support, as he doesn't have any money, leaving the lady tearing up with embarrassment. And that right there is another minus 50 dignity points. Knocked out and got destroyed. Wacky Lanie begins crying as she claims that, despite having different mothers, she wants to be closer to her in Halo, which is ridiculous because if this is true, why does she have to contact Halo without her knowledge? Ines knows Lanie's desire for an angelic little brother because she loves having lovely things for herself, and the thought of this lady treating Halo like a doll or something makes her blood boil. She approaches Lanie and taps her shoulder, warning her not to speak to Halo again or she will do horrible things. Meanwhile, Khaled is back in his repeating dream, which still includes the same girl, but this time she speaks and asks for him to wait for her. He has no idea what it means, but every time he wakes up from his dream, he's in tears. Another mystery to solve. In any case, he intends on seeing Ines today, and he knows the girl would be disappointed with him sooner or later, but he decided to play along until she's the one who gives up. When Khaled arrives at the Eladine estate, the first person he encounters is Halo, who has suddenly turned quite grouchy and insists that Khaled spend some time with him since his sister isn't home just yet. Afterwards, Halo brings him some tea. Khaled takes note of how salty it is, but he brushes it off, thinking it could be just bad luck for him today, while our little boy's confused by how calm Khaled is when he intentionally adds salt to his cup. Oh, what a relief! Our little troublemaker is only pulling harmless pranks! Anyway, all Halo wants to make clear is that Khaled should never fall in love with his sister, while insisting that his sister's priority is always him. Soon after, Enos arrives, pleased with how Halo is entertaining their guest, and requests that he go, to which the small boy complies. Now that they are alone, Enos hands Khaled the contract document to make things official between them. This contract states that it will last for a year, with both parties committing to put in their best effort. Enos will fund their fake relationship, while Khaled will take care of any man who tries to approach her. I can hear the sword calling our girl sugar mama! Most importantly, both parties agree not to fall in love with each other. Sure, we'll see how that goes. Khaled agrees and is about to sign the contract when their fingertips touch, shocking Enos that Khaled's misfortune is worsening because he will die within a week. That escalated quickly. Khaled will face a dire situation with assassins entering his bedroom, and as he nears his death, he'll feel a sense of disappointment about how an ordinary life just doesn't seem to suit him. Enos shares this with him, but he takes it so easily, leaving our girl a bit taken aback. She then discovers that Khaled is constantly targeted for assassination after becoming the master of the demonic sword, and he guesses that these people are Egfrite's followers. Egfrite is the god of their continent, and because the Pope and the Grand Temple are so influential, many people worship the visible power of Egfrite, the Tree of God. The tree is so enormous that it reaches the sky, and it forecasts what will happen in their world. A healthy tree implies a good harvest, a weak tree signifies a bad harvest, and dry leaves indicate that an infectious sickness will spread. But this valuable tree has been wounded by the cursed sword. So Enos understands why many devotees want Khaled's life, but she can't let him die. So she assures him that he will be all right. Khaled is amazed that, despite knowing this, our girl is still not distancing herself, prompting Enos to clarify that if she is hurt, the Empire will be jeopardized because the entire economy will collapse. Just how wealthy is she? She truly made the most of her power. Aside from that, she's already devised 10 strategies to prevent the assassination. Khaled informs her that others would undoubtedly speak negatively about her, because he doesn't have a good reputation, but she confidently assures him that she can handle anyone who speaks ill of her. After all, it's impossible to please everyone. Enos seems quite confident with this deal, so Khaled decides to sign the contract. Next, they'll need to let everyone know they're in a relationship, and what better way to do that than by getting matching couple rings? They are now outside the jewelry shop, and since our guy here isn't quite the best actor yet, Enos takes the lead by clinging to his shoulder. Oh my, they look amazing together! As soon as they enter, the clerk is pleasantly surprised and immediately bows to greet Our Lady, while Enos happily asks to see the best engagement rings they have. While Enos is on the hunt for the perfect couple rings, Teigerios has already chosen a beautiful diamond ring and shares some wise words. A relationship may come to an end, but a diamond will last forever. That's really practical and insightful! It seems that Enos and the sword share a similar taste because the moment our girl spots that beautiful ring, she instantly picks it out. Since the package also includes having their names engraved on the rings, they decided to unwind in the waiting area, with Enos giving Khaled the thumbs up that there's no bad luck or anything in the juice, so he's free to drink it. He takes a sip, and his eyes light up again, catching Enos's attention and making her look genuinely thrilled. My reaction is just like hers. I just want to keep this sweetheart happy. Enos decides to give it a try too, but it turns out to be just an ordinary apple juice, making her think that maybe Khaled really loves apple juice. Sir, I'll give you all the apple juice. Once the ring engravings are finished, Enos reminds Khaled that there will be plenty of reporters waiting outside. So as they leave the shop, she asks him to hold onto her shoulders. He happily complies, making his ring shine while Enos beams at the reporters as she showcases her ring too. And just like that, her plan to let the whole empire know she's in a relationship is all set. It seems that even Emperor Haraseg Gerard Venetian has heard the buzz about Enos Eladine potentially getting engaged to the master of the demonic sword. He knows all about the Eladine family, especially since they've made such an incredible comeback in high society. They nearly faced ruin, but then bounced back to the top. As for the master of the demonic sword, the entire empire was shocked when the first news arrived. It had been 100 years since the cursed sword showed itself, and this time it chose an imperial knight. There are nobles who oppose allowing Khaled to continue his imperial knight position, but there are also many who support him. claiming that the Pope himself requested it. The temple promised to take responsibility in the event of an accident involving Khaled, allowing him to remain a knight by demoting him to captain of the Third Order. Very suspicious. Their love story is still making news, even if it has been days, and Ines gazes at her ring. She comes to the realization that she has only 6 months left before Khaled meets his awful end. If the temple takes him, she has already thought of an excuse, saying her love for him is so deep that she simply can't marry anyone else. However, she wonders why the temple is giving Khaled time when, practically speaking, if all of the swordmasters go insane, they should have taken the chosen one immediately after being picked. Ines resolves to investigate the former masters of the demonic sword, and what better place to ask than the temple, right? Just then, Shamor appears with an invitation letter from the imperial palace, as the emperor's birthday is approaching. I am smelling some drama soon. Anyway, Khaled is expected to die in 3 days, but don't worry. Our girl has already taken all necessary precautions to keep him safe. Khaled arrived soaking after being splashed with water while walking by at their agreed-upon meeting today. Forgive me for thanking your bad luck, my good sir, but you look especially charming with that wet look. Ines says they should go to a shop so he can get changed, but on the way, Ines realizes why he's the unluckiest man, considering he almost got hit by a falling flower vase, the road leading to the store is closed for construction, and he was almost run over by a carriage. Take note, this all happened on the way to the store, prompting Khaled to suggest that they go home. But Ines is concerned that if she sends him home now, he might get run over by a carriage, which convinces our guy here. Who knew shopping could be such a life-or-death adventure? Thanks to her, they arrive at the clothing store in one piece, and Ines selects a suit for him while assuring him that she would keep an eye so he can change. I enjoy how our girl is making all the moves while Khaled is simply being the baby girl. It's been a minute, and Khaled hasn't answered, so Ines is about to smash down the door when the cutie pie opens it and says the shirt's buttons have popped off. I once again thank your bad luck. He's so gorgeous. Ines concedes that he has a really nice body, but the workers are also enjoying the show for free, so she gets closer to him and flirtatiously tells him not to exhibit this part of himself to others, forcing the ladies to turn away. After Khaled finishes changing into that fine outfit, Ines plans to go somewhere to have his hair done when suddenly a lightning strike and fire break out the entrance. How is this man still alive? Can we call him lucky for this? Ines is blown away that lightning can strike even when the skies are so clear. Ines' ability isn't all-powerful since it depends on how the other person perceives their situation. If they think their incident is no big deal, then she won't be able to see their misfortune. She begins to feel anxious that Khaled might get hurt or even die from a natural disaster, which is something she feels powerless to prevent. Khaled appears gloomy as he asks whether she still wants to continue their fake relationship, prompting Ines to cross her arms and smugly declare that not everything is about him, and that perhaps the lightning is her fault because she has been unlucky lately. She then cheers him up and clings to his shoulder, ready to see what terrible luck awaits him. But to her surprise, Khaled's bad luck is not being able to eat apple pie. Ines asks him with a smile if he likes apple pie and invites him to go together, all the while thinking about how Khaled has such an adorable side. Halo's suspension lifts after a few days, and the siblings bid each other farewell. Following that, Ines decides to have tea in the garden, and the apple jam makes her giggle since it reminds her of how cute Khaled was on their date, eating an apple pie. Ines even suggested he take some home with him, and this guy happily accepted, blushing as he carried a whole box of apple pie. He is getting spoiled by Ines, and I am so there for it. Now, she's starting to wonder if Khaled has an obsession with apples in general. And here I am, excited to see her become the apple of his eye. Anyway, she asked him to follow her instructions for the day of the assassination, and guess what? That day is actually today. She advises Khaled to go home after work, ignore the food his staff brings him, and act like nothing is out of the ordinary. Khaled is genuinely taken aback by how smoothly their first date went. He avoided any harm, and even had his apple pie of his dreams, which has left him hoping for peaceful days like these. However, he doesn't want to be greedy, and finds their peaceful date to be enough, especially knowing that he will soon pass and the temple will take him soon. Don't worry, your girl will spoil you even more and will definitely help you with this temple thing for sure. That evening, Khaled throws his meal on his balcony and goes to bed with Teguierios, who is now excited about the upcoming action. As planned, the assassins arrive, and they are startled to discover Khaled awake because he was meant to be hypnotized earlier. Nonetheless, these guys decide to go all out with their attack when a new gang of assassins appears and easily kills those seeking Khaled's life. Even Tigerios has questions as to why all these assassins are fighting each other. And when Khaled is ready to join the fight, the white-haired assassin bows at him and explains that Lady Eladine has sent them to protect him, prompting him to recall how Inez stated that she will ensure that no blood falls on his hands. She is such a classy baddie. I love her! Inez has successfully closed yet another business transaction today, and for some reason, she has the impression that her power is growing stronger. This is because she's now able to perceive a wider range of a person's misfortune. However, she has not yet discovered a method by which she can completely restore her power without Khaled. But for the time being, it is time for her next business agenda. Inside the carriage, Shamor brings up the imperial banquet, and our girl happily decides to attend this time because, why not? It's the perfect place to show off her lover. Inez hopes that by officially revealing her relationship at the imperial banquet, she will avoid the need for excuses of when she'll get married. And what's even more exciting is that she will get to see Lanie again. From what she remembers, Lanie's little mishap will involve a dress she really wants, but just can't seem to get. This prompts Inez to inquire with Shamor about the status of her Ruby Sinon dress. Upon hearing that it would soon be completed, she is filled with excitement and the belief that the workers deserve compensation. Meanwhile, crazy Lanie is bragging about her new jewelry, which her father bought on a business trip, leading everyone to believe that her father adores her greatly. Lanie smiles, appreciating the fact that she's the center of attention, in contrast to the previous tea party, where she found Inez to be extremely harsh on her and no one backed her. As a result, she vows to build strong alliances, which she finds simple because she believes that giving gifts and compliments will make the girls around her loyal to her. Suddenly, one of the girls inquires whether Lanie will be attending the imperial banquet, which she quickly confirms. The girls then talk about ordering their dresses and which seamstress to choose. But one girl mentions Ruby Sinon, who will not accept reservations unless you match their requirements. Following their comments, Lanie expresses her desire to order her dress from Ruby Sinon, making the other females jealous. After the tea party, Lanie rushes to the Ruby Sinon's shop, only to find it closed. However, she continues to insist on reserving a banquet dress with the lady in charge, but the lady apologizes and informs Lanie that they would even reject an order from the Emperor right now. Lanie, who has already boasted about wearing a Ruby Sinon dress, becomes enraged and boldly enters the boutique, her eyes widening as she gazes upon the exquisitely crafted dress in front of her. She then expresses her desire for the outfit, proposes a higher price, and even wishes to speak with the owner personally. However, she is surprised to discover that Inez Eladine ordered the dress for such a high price, and she finds it hard to believe Inez could actually spend that much on just one dress. Lanie requests to meet with the designer right away, but whoopsie, Inez has already sent all employees on vacation. Go on, cry in the corner, trying hard, broke little sis. Meanwhile, Khaled has just arrived at the Eladine Manor, and Inez quickly welcomes him inside. As they walk, Khaled wonders if they really need to attend the banquet, since he is anxious that the more people there are, the more likely he would be involved in an accident. However, Inez simply smiles, assuring him that he doesn't need to be concerned because he has her. When the door opens, Khaled is surprised to see luxurious men's clothes lined up and different sparkly accessories, while Miss Ma'am sits comfortably as she orders them to begin. Our queen is about to spoil her baby again. After getting changed into that all-black outfit, Khaled feels embarrassed and wants to stop all of it. But when Inez innocently offers that they can just do it again tomorrow, he trembles and chooses to go along with it today so that there'll be no more suffering the next day. Inez then demands that his hair be styled, and wow, his brushed-up hair makes him look like royalty. Our girl notices his sword and wonders if he could just leave it at home for the banquet, prompting him to explain that he will die if he separates from it. Inez recommends that they decorate it instead, which makes Tigerios happy enough to move a little and even gives her a nickname, Daya, since she bought Khaled a diamond ring. They put a red and black ribbon on the sword, and it works quite well, prompting Tigerios to request a mirror, which Khaled obliges while Inez looks puzzled. This sword is such a cutie like his master. Khaled then wonders why they don't meet in the tailor shop, causing our girl to declare that if that's what he wants, she won't mind buying a store the next time. To be spoiled by her, I am on my knees, my queen. However, their conversation is interrupted when she receives an urgent report that Marquis Havert has arrived, and even the guards couldn't stop him. Ines quickly steps away from Khaled and then freezes when her so-called father asks her to give her Rubicon dress to Lanie. She can't believe she's hearing this because the man in front of her didn't attend her mom's funeral, and yet here he is, visiting her for a dress. The Marquise argues that if Ines refuses to give it, she should at least return the staff from their vacation as they are ignoring his request. Our girl smiles as she simply states that no response means they are unwilling to take their order, leaving the Marquise enraged at how she mocks her father. Correction, you're just a sperm donor who abandoned his children because he doesn't want to pay child support, which means Ines is convinced he won't be able to afford a Rubicon dress either. The Marquise's pride has been crushed and he wishes to slap Ines, but he is quickly stopped when Khaled appears to save her. He steps forward and lets the Marquise know that he is Ines's boyfriend, which catches both the Marquise and Lanie off guard. She's likely feeling jealous again. But when the Marquise shouts that he is Ines's father, our little sweetheart quickly hides behind our girl. This guy is so funny without even trying. At that moment, Shamor and the guards show up to forcefully drag the Haverts out, leading the Marquise to raise his voice at Ines. Without missing a beat, Shamor slams her palm on the Marquise's face to silence him after Ines complains that it causes pain to her ear. Now that's one way to protect your lady. Ines and Khaled decide to go to the garden, and our girl wasn't expecting him to save her earlier, prompting her to share who those people were. She says this with a smile, but the truth is she will never forget how nasty her father is. It was winter at the time, and she knelt down before him, pleading with him to help their mother, who was in severe condition. They are in debt, and medical bills keep piling up, but the Marquise shows zero concern. Instead, he reminds Ines that she left, thus she is no longer his child. Ines's dark thoughts fade away when Khaled brings up the idea that if the Marquise ever returns, he can simply arrest him since he thinks that this might be one of the reasons for their fake relationship, which makes her smile. The imperial banquet has arrived, and Deharth is swamped with questions regarding his brother's engagement to the great Lady Eladine. He is so irritated that Khaled is the talk of the party that he decides to start a rumor by claiming that the two had already broken up, because Khaled is ill-tempered, blah blah blah, with all the lies. All at once, the whole hall falls quiet as our lovely couple makes their entrance, shining in their matching royal blue and black outfits. Ines is happily holding onto Khaled's shoulder, while Mr. Apple Lover looks so elegant with his slicked back hair, leaving Deharth speechless. No one in the audience recognized Khaled, so when Goddess Ines smiled at him, they were all taken aback. They seem so sweet to everyone else, but the reason he tilts down is because she's giving him instructions to grab her waist. The height difference is just adorable. Nobles start to gather around them, with the men showering compliments on Ines. A lady, intrigued, asks about the gentleman by her side, prompting our girl to smile sweetly as she introduces him as Khaled Arsdian, her beloved. The mood changes immediately after she says that, and they all start looking at Khaled with fearful eyes, while one guy has the nerve to question Ines whether she'll be okay knowing that something might happen to her because of him. She grins at him and says he sounds like he wants something to happen, which causes him to wince and explain that he's only worried. Who are you to be concerned about anyway? Ines stares at him, causing the other nobles to turn away, while the man quickly apologizes, as he should. Lanie arrives at the party, and it's quite amusing to see her confusion as no one seems to be approaching her. That's when it dawns on her that Ines is here. Her attention then moves to Khaled, and she immediately blushes, which Ines notices and can hardly believe that after going after her little brother, she now has her sights set on her lover too. Gosh, what a witch! The Emperor's arrival is announced, and he seems genuinely surprised when he sees Khaled in the crowd, something our girl's eagle eye has picked up on. She thought at first that maybe the Emperor was just surprised to see the master of the demonic sword, but then she realized that Khaled had received an invitation, which means the Emperor knew he was coming, and that surprised look earlier meant something else. I think I've seen this scene before. Khaled is definitely the Emperor's son, isn't he? Anyway, the Emperor receives gifts from the nobility, but it is the branch from the Tree of God that the temple offers that fascinates Ines. The Emperor is truly delighted to receive such a priceless gift, but for some reason, seeing it makes Ines's heart tighten as if the light is calling her, prompting her to glance around and see if everyone else is feeling the same way. Is she a saint? Reincarnation of their god or something? She then accidentally made eye contact with the crown prince, and as a businesswoman, having a connection with the imperial family isn't such a terrible idea. Until this not-so-charming prince smirks at her. She quickly realizes that the prince isn't the nicest person, so she decides to let go of those thoughts and thinks it's best not to get involved with the crown prince at all. Absolutely excellent choice, queen! The party has begun, and now that Ines has finished showing off her relationship, the two of them decide to head to a less crowded spot. She offers him an apple cider and asks if he likes apples, but when he says no, she wonders if he'd like her to get him some wine instead. Khaled happily takes the apple cider from her, and that's when she realizes that this man has a fondness for apples, keeping it under wraps as if it's something he shouldn't show. Duchess Helios then approaches them and asks if Ines can have a moment to chat, which our girl happily accepts. But before she leaves, she gives Khaled a sweet kiss on the cheek. She's so flirty. Even after Ines has left, Khaled stays frozen in his position, remembering how DeHarth called him nasty simply because their hands touched during a meal. DeHarth protested that he could end up unlucky like Khaled, so the Marchioness ordered Khaled's meals to be carried to his room starting that day. Ugh, the isolation he must endure. While waiting for Ines, noblemen approach him like typical bullies, prompting Tegerios to comment that these men are jealous of Khaled, which shows just how popular his diet is. And look who's here, the master of petty jealous men, DeHarth, who claims that Khaled will die soon and seems to be trying to spread his misfortune to Lady Eladine. Our guy has had his fill, so he walks towards DeHarth and playfully proposes that they should see if his bad luck is truly contagious. He then shows DeHarth the cursed sword with a smile, finding it amusing to think he might become its next master. It's so great to see him standing up for himself. Tegerios, as one would imagine, is repulsed by the thought and starts shaking, causing DeHarth and his gang of bullies to retreat in fear. Meanwhile, the Duchess and Ines are discussing their joint investment, but they are distracted by the commotion, which makes our girl frustrated. However, when she finds it is her precious gold nugget, she instantly asks the Duchess to discuss it more at another time because she believes she has left her lover alone for too long. This surprises the Duchess because she assumed Ines had hidden intentions for her relationship, which causes Ines to flinch at the Duchess's quick wit. She then plays the act of, "I'm so in love right now," prompting the Duchess to believe it before letting her go. The Duchess seems like an ally. Our couple decides to go to the terrace and Khaled breaks the silence, wondering if Ines is now realizing how horrible it is to be in a relationship with him after seeing how people view him today. Our girl merely compliments him and adds that having a madman reputation is better than appearing like an easy prey, and she is pleased that no guys will ever try to send her marriage offer since they're too wary of him. Her words aren't enough to convince him to trust her, so she chooses to straightforwardly admit that his face is exactly her type. She then playfully fixes his hair and compliments him on how extra handsome he looks tonight, before suggesting that if he wants to move away from the Arsdeon family, she'd be happy to help. She's so sassy! Khaled declines, sharing that his adoptive parents had warned him that leaving the house could result in being removed from the family, which would mean he'd become a commoner and lose the chance to work as a knight. He has to live with the Arsdeon, even though they don't treat him well, which makes Ines quite curious. However, she doesn't want to overstep and invade his private life. Anyway, she felt something strange when she kissed Khaled on the cheek earlier, so she decided to try it again by hugging him, making him blush and unable to move. She is correct. The extent of misfortune she can see is determined by the level of their physical contact, prompting her to smirk and ask Khaled if he would consider testing it with their lips. She asked that with a straight face, and now I'm giggling. He is so flustered that he walks away to grab himself a drink, while our girl smiles and thinks he's cute. The fact that our goddess is both sophisticated and playful is refreshing. I can't wait to see her blush next time. Soon after that, the Crown Prince shows up, wishing to speak with Ines. Although this is their first face-to-face encounter, he is aware that she is seeing Khaled, which causes him to look sensual since he thinks it's a waste of her beauty. Excuse me? Ines wants to avoid this conversation at all costs, so she asks the prince directly what he wants. This makes the prince question if she's considering a future in politics, since he wants her to join him as his political partner. This makes little sense because the Crown Prince has no need to expand his power because he's the Emperor's only son and so has no rival for the throne. It's definitely Khaled! The Crown Prince even declares that they may move beyond politics, aka his wife, which is an appealing offer, but she has no idea what his real goals are, and she may be abandoned after being taken advantage of. Ines wants to give it some thought first, and the prince lets her. However, before he leaves, he warns her that it won't be good for her if she refuses. Our girl has no intention of becoming an enemy of the future emperor, but she also doesn't want to be manipulated. So she decides that the next time they meet, she will touch him to uncover his weakness. Boy, you should not have interfered with our girl. You totally should have left our girl alone. Meanwhile, inside the party, Lady Bridget and the other ladies wonder if Lanie's outfit is from Rubicinon. She denies this and fabricates a story about her Rubicinon dress being damaged by her servant, forcing her to wear a different one, prompting the ladies to commend her on her kindness. Lanie glances to her side, and noticing that Khaled is alone, she excitedly runs over to him because she truly wants to win his heart. She's being all adorable and saying sorry for the fuss from the last time at the Eladine estate. Oh, so you think this will charm him? In your dreams, and don't wake up! Khaled simply instructs her to apologize to Lady Eladine, prompting thirsty Lanie to argue that it was Ines's fault, which he has no time to listen to, so he walks away. She then grabs him and assures him that she doesn't mind if he's the master of the demonic sword, but Khaled responds coldly, leaving her confused because she thought that comforting him would make him warm up to her. Flirting with someone else's partner? Where is she getting this confidence? Ines then notices the two talking, and because everyone is watching, Lanie chooses to look friendly, but uh-oh, our girl is not in the mood right now. So she recounts how she and her father went to her house demanding her dress. Ines goes as far as mentioning how Rubicinon disregarded Lanie's order, causing the other women to begin muttering, all because Lanie claimed to own a dress by Rubicinon. Strike one! When Lanie explains she's only greeting Khaled, Ines comments that she reminds her of a woman who tears up a family because she has a relationship with another woman's husband. Strike two! Lanie becomes quite irritated and orders Ines to shut up, citing that her status is higher than hers. This just makes our girl laugh, wondering if Lanie will go cry and call her daddy again. And that's a wrap. Our girl just knocked it out of the park. I love her. Lanie becomes so embarrassed that she challenges Ines to a duel, making the whole crowd go crazy. For noble women, a duel entails both parties bringing their substitutes and engaging in a sword fight, with the loser required to publicly apologize to the victor. Ines gladly accepts her challenge, but she demands that she will pick the location. Lanie begins to sweat when Ines informs her that she has 3 days to find a substitute because she already has one, which is, of course, Khaled. They are now in the carriage, and because a duel is also a business, Ines promises to give Khaled half of her earnings. Khaled initially refuses, but when Ines specifies the approximate amount, his eyes widen in surprise since this money will help him support the Third Order, as the imperial family's funding for his knights is insufficient. She isn't greedy, which is even more reason to love her. Before the upcoming duel, our girl is busy looking for a product to sell at the duel site, so she visits a beauty shop today after seeing a businessman's misfortune for not entering the beauty market. However, Ines has no idea which product will boost this industry. She may witness people's misfortunes, but it is up to her to find out how to reach there. This just goes to show how smart she is, because while her power is impressive, it requires some brains to use it effectively. Just then, Ines notices one lady begging the shop owner to let her explain her new product, but the owner seems uninterested and pushes her away. Her product rolls over to Ines, and when she passes it to the lady, she's surprised by the misfortune she witnesses. Is that lipstick?
So guys, what do you think of the story so far? Please subscribe and turn on notifications for updates on this and all our other stories so you can be the first to find out when they're out. Thank you so much for your support. See you in the next one.